Okay, are we live? I'm waiting to see something. There I am. All right, we're here, early as it is. Deli sandwich, what's going on there, buddy? Seeing you on the YouTube side. Did we RV yet? No, unfortunately not. This is weird. Yeah, there must be a delay on YouTube side. On the YouTube side, can you guys see me yet? All right. Do you see me? Let me know if you can see me and hear me. No picture. What in the world? Nope, nope, nope. I don't understand what's going on here. Solo. There I am. Can you see me now? Hello, hello, hello. Can you see me now? Okay. Awesome. There's a delay. I got two screens up. I got Rumble on one side and YouTube on the other. So there's like a delay. So, all right. As long as you guys can see me and hear me now, we're good to go. Hello, hello, my girl, Ronald, Lisa, JT, Christy, Ray, Freedom. Trying to get all you guys. Sweet Tea, David. Appreciate y'all being here. So, I was trying to do a video and it was very frustrating because there's not a lot of dinar news out there, unfortunately. And I'm sorry that there isn't. But with Ramadan ending and the new quarter beginning, I think it's all still about Ramadan over there. But there was a report out that they finally have worked through their issues with paying the salary. So the political mess and the technical side have apparently all been fixed, and moving forward, they should have um, no issues with their funding and delivering um, salaries. So why is that important? Because when this thing does go live and HCL and all that stuff kicks in, then it's going to be seamless. Should be. Hurry and wait, says the wizard. Well, I'm not a wizard, so um, it's at best is a speculative investment. So if you can't handle the up and down on a roller coaster, then I suggest you put your currency in a box, walk away from it, and check back in a week or two and see what's going on. The majority of us have been experiencing a roller coaster for a long time, and we're used to it. So We'll see. All right. So in other news, because like it or lump it, this is tied together with world news and politics as well. So when we watch things that are happening in politics with Trump and different things, um, it's all tied to the RV in some way, shape, or form. Because you can have the most expensive Hellcat motor, whatever, some super souped up engine transmission for a racing car. And if you don't have wheels to put on the racing car, it doesn't really do any good. You can sit there and rev it up, make a lot of noise, but you're not going anywhere. So while we're all watching the RV, there's other things that are tied into it, and that's where if you want to see engage where we're at in this RV process, you kind of have to look at the world politics that go along with it. So the thing, I saw this today and it blew me away. Elon, the DOGE department, along with this guy whose last name is Garcia, have discovered that all the illegals that were coming into the country since 2020 were seeking asylum. So, why is that important? Because they found a loophole that if you come to to America seeking asylum and you want to work, you file for a work permit, visa, whatever, in the security software, their antiquated system that will auto-generate you a social security number and mail you a social security card, and then you can go sign up for benefits, health care, money, and all that stuff. And the kicker is you get to go register to vote. So everything that Trump was saying was right. And when you're looking at the world politics, there's no way that this RV could have went in the last 4 years. None. I'm absolutely convinced of that. But so they uncovered this, and so what the goal there was to allegedly get these people in, get them social security cards, register them to vote, influence them to vote, and systematically, by using our government, change the world, change America, vote things in and out. And so I think in reality, we really have to take a step back and look at how close we were to really losing our freedoms, and look at how close we were to becoming a country ruled by tyranny. So you take that 30,000-foot view at everything, and then you put the RV in the middle and look at everything that's tied to it. What would go a long way in fixing that is Nasara and Gasara. If all these people had to go back to their country of origin in order to receive the benefits of Gasara, that that would go a long way in moving people back to their home countries. All right, so let me get caught up with some of your comments. Audrey, yes, but is way different than before. Yes, unfortunately, it's tied together. Is kicked out. If you were kicked out of a group for saying the truth, then you're better off without them. Yeah, debunk the lies. Okay, I got you now. I was gonna say I'm not a wizard. Let me look over here on YouTube side. What am I hiding on a t-shirt? Gulf of America, baby. All right, so another news. The gurus make this look so easy. Again, I'm not a guru, so this blew me away too today. Today's just been like a crazy amount of discovery or disclosure. So the Argentina president Javier Milei, I think that's how you say his name, has declassified documents confirming that Hitler was alive for an additional 20 years after the end of World War II, when he was supposedly unalived himself. He also fathered two more children. I'd be really interested in hearing what you guys think those two children are. He'd probably be world leaders somewhere. Um, Along with other people, and because we can't say the N word, um, the ones that go like that. So, why is that important? You gotta follow it, man. Follow the breadcrumbs. Operation Paperclip, NASA. So if it comes out, he's declassified all these documents, and all of a sudden we have names, and all of a sudden we can start following those names to people and administrations that are currently in power in the United States. That's big. And him and Trump are buddies, so you can't tell me that wasn't coordinated. With the JFK files being unredacted and given over, now all this coming out about Hitler and the other crazies, or were they really crazy? It all, and there's a certain family that's tied to all of it. There was a father and a son who were president that are all up in this business. So, guys, there's Barry's mama, Robert Chandler. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of disclosure, and I think the dam is starting to break, and we're starting to see the little spouts of water coming through the dam. It's getting ready to break open, and I think a lot of people are going to be really shocked when our history and past come to light. Robert, I hope you're right. Robert says, drop it like a hot. EBS coming in hot. I hope you're right. Angelina Merkel, yep. John's got it. So, disclosure. So, if the Q drops and the things that we've seen over the last, God, however many years are finally coming true, then buckle up, Buttercup, because we're in for a ride. Where the RV fits into all that is anyone's guess. We're just following the clues, but you have to always take the 30,000 foot view of everything that's going on in the world. Down, I mean, even down to, there's so many deep rabbit holes, but Robert's on top of it. But you got to take that 30,000 foot view and put the RV down here in the middle of it, and then see how all the pieces connect to it. Give you an understanding of timing and where we're at. I wanted to believe all during the 20s that Iraq could go by itself, and that I was preaching that, but there's no way under that administration, with Trump being involved, that was ever going to happen. And so I got egg on my face for saying that for all that time. And the long and the short of it is it's all tied together. And I really believe that Trump's pulling the strings on that. Now things are heating up between Iran. Trump has doubled down on deploying troops, deploying artillery, and all. Like, if everything looks like they're getting ready to carpet bomb Iran and blow it back to the Stone Ages. Um, so, are we going to have to wait until that's done? I hope not, because that could drag on. But all this can be a very elaborate smokescreen for things happening, like Nassar and Gassara and RV. Um, I don't know. There's a reason that they're holding up the Epstein list, and I think it's to drop it when it's the timing's right, to mop up all the bad players who are involved in 2020, involved with the human trafficking, in one big net. Get them all together, take them out. The sorry happens. Everyone, we have these emergency elections, bring back in new government, and we start moving forward. So everything Trump does and says is for a reason. He doesn't misspeak. He doesn't, misspell things. It's all on purpose. So when he's, saying we're getting ready to go into the golden age of America, you can bet your bottom dollar that it's going to happen. All right, so let me see some of your guys' comments. Lisa H, I think things have to happen with the Pope and King Charles before we go. There again, yeah. I mean, I think they have these actors playing their roles, and then when it's time, they just stop being put on camera, and then suddenly, tragically, they're going to be passed away. So, Gary, perp walks would be a great distraction. It would, absolutely. Yeah, I saw that Christy, Prince Andrew's victim, Epstein human trafficking victim, was hit by a bus, says she has 4 days to live. Yeah, that to me seems like could be a huge calm. That's an odd thing to say. I was hit by the bus and I have 4 days to live. So you're hit by a poison bus, and the bus, it's like, where does that even come from? That's so bizarre that it has to be a calm. All right, so let me see these other comments here. Tommy Chicago, April 2nd, the anniversary of the April 2nd, 1792 birth of the US dollar under a gold and silver standard back. Then the US dollar was valid. Yep. Like I said, Trump does everything on purpose, and there's a reason that he picked April 2nd. So I guess technically we're at New Year's Eve, since April 1st is the real New Year's Day. So Happy New Year. Bush beer, Robert. That's funny. All right, guys, give me something you want to talk about. Petty sock. Who knows how long? Nobody knows. And if they tell you they know, they're lying to you. Susan, 4 days seems a little fishy. Yes, it does. All right, what do you guys want to talk about? I don't want to keep everybody on here if we don't have anything to talk about. I've blown through everything I wanted to discuss. Lisa, the stimulus check. Okay, so thank you for reminding me of that. So the other thing that's being floated around for the second, it could happen, but I'm not sure, is the DOGE checks or the stimulus checks. Um, Ronald, do you think the White House is getting blown up or taken down? I don't think that's literal. I don't know. So DOGE checks or the stimulus checks. So the number that they came up with was supposed to be, and at the time they proposed it, 20% of the monies that Doge was recovering from, fake Social Security and different fictitious government programs out there. And then they were going to take that 20% of the money that they were recovering and then divide it out to every American. And somehow that was coming up to $5,000 stimulus check per American. So I kind of went into a mini deep dive on that today with Grok from Twitter AI. So the person who proposed this Doge check goes by the name of James Fishback, heirs of Azoria Partners. And Azoria Partners is a firm based on free thinking and I have to remember how to say this meritocracy. Meritocracy. So free thinking, meritocracy, and excellence. So what is meritocracy? And I spelled it because I had to go look it up. So meritocracy means a ruling or influential class of educated or skilled people. Coincidentally, Britain, we know how awesome they're doing right now. Britain is a meritocracy. So it begs the question, why is someone who is the head of an organization that believes these things proposing that we get a stimulus check from Doge? So I don't know. There's more to that there. And like I said, that was just a mini deep dive into that. So I'm not sure. I got to dig into that some more. There's something just kind of not sitting right with me on that. Brennan, what is this I'm hearing? $0 for Boulevard. Here's the thing about Boulevard. It's a wild horse. No one knows what it's going to go for. I've heard uh, everything 13 cents, 23 cents, 73 cents. Unfortunately, it's one of those things we're not going to know until it goes. I think the rumors and talk about it being worthless or zero is just because of the continued sanctions that are being threatened against Venezuela and people who do business with Venezuela. Um, so that I think that's where you're hearing that rumor come from. Tony Stormcloud's in the house, Texas representing Texas. Steven, what do I think about Zig? Honestly, I don't really know very much, if anything, about it. It's gold backed. I think it's definitely it is cruel, and I don't want to dismiss it. It's crucial for Nassar and Gassara because it's a sovereign currency for Zimbabwe that's gold backed. So it's the basis for what Nassar and Gassara is going to be about is that we each have our own sovereign currency based on assets, um, and that we're not all reliant upon the dollar. So it's important, but that's about all I know about it. Amar, that okay. So the government website, like the Iraqi Gazette, can be down for more than 10 days. What's the implication of that? That is pretty. Yeah, that that will fan the flames of hope because we all know that we're waiting for the rate to be announced in the Gazette, and the fact that it's down and we're all waiting for it to come back, that it lends itself to being pretty awesome if it came back with the new rate. Other than that, I don't know why it's down. I don't know if anyone in America does, other than Trump or somebody like that. But I do think that that's a crucial indicator. So definitely be keeping your eye on that. Susan, yes, correct. And I hope I didn't convey that differently. So Susan Miller, from what I understand, Fishback is the architect of the DOGE stimulus check. Correct. It's not up to him. Correct. It's up to Congress. Congress has any stimulus. Congress has to rubber stamp it, and then it goes to Trump, and then it's passed. I wasn't saying that it was up to him or up to Elon. Christy, if you throw a rock at a calendar, you'll always hit a holiday in Iraq. So I wouldn't put too much focus on that. Multi-Troy, hopefully this week. That'd be awesome. So shout out where you're at and what's your gas prices. They're currently about $2.69 here in Mississippi. Yeah, like I said, Trump doesn't do anything random or by happenstance. So he's mentioning Doge and the Doge checks and it's Doge slash stimulus. Um, so that tells me that it could be very soon on the horizon. Lady Di, is XRP going to be turned in at our redemption appointments? No, XRP is a crypto that you hold in your wallet or your online wallet. Um, it's a digital currency, so you will always hold on to that in whatever form you have it, and you're hopefully in a wallet or Coinbase or something like that, and then that way, as the value of it increases on whatever platform you have it on, and then you can use it for whatever you want to, just like a currency would. But no, you're not going to cash it in at a redemption appointment. You could you could use it however you want to. Once it goes and it becomes incredibly more valuable, then you could use it to buy whatever, car, house, whatever. William, I think I do have the Jeep issue figured out. So it has a proprietary sound system with Alpine, and then you have to have a controller interface. So I've ordered that. So in a couple days, I'll have an answer for you on that. Idaho gas is up at 331. South Carolina 262. Texas 265. California 345. That's not bad for California. Lisa, PA 315. Suzanne, I don't, I'm trying to think back to when George W. passed that stimulus thing after 9/11. Um, I don't know if that can be a executive order or not. Lady Di, everything that David says, you got to take it with a giant lump of salt. And that's about all I'm going to say about that. But no, you don't have to turn it in my opinion. Pine Belt, Mississippi. No, guys, if it sounds scary, Breakaway says been hearing a short window to exchange IQD 3 days. If you're seeing stuff on social media and it sounds scary and it's like clickbait to like click on my YouTube channel to find out if this is real or not or whatever. 90 9% of the time, all that's going to be fake. I've heard consistently that the minimum would be 30 days. So, and we're not going to know until it happens, but 3 days is an impossible task, I think. Okay, so William says it was an executive order and I got a check for $600. Okay. Well, if it is like if, lender said that, I'm assuming you're referring to George W. when he did that. So it can be done with an executive order, then I'm sure Trump will do it. Yeah, again, just guys, tune up your BS sniffers, and if it doesn't pass the smell test, and it's scary, and oh my pan, they want you to panic. It's not true. All right, guys, what else you got? I don't want to keep everybody on here for what if we don't have anything to discuss. All right. I can't figure out your name. Andron, Drawn something. I've been keeping calm. I'm hearing tier 1 through 3 has been paid. I don't see 800 numbers. Um, Again, rumors. We don't know. Um, I did listen to Mr. C with Mark last Friday, and someone asked Mr. C about 1-800 numbers, and he said that back in the day when this was supposed to happen, back in like 2001, that back then we didn't have smartphones and all that stuff, and people were just figuring out what email was. So that was where the whole 1-800 number came out, that an 800 number will be passed around, and you call that number and you call in to register and say, hey, I'm in this zip code and I have currency. Where do I need to go? Um, that sounds a little antiquated to us nowadays because of smartphone technology, but it could possibly still be a thing because there are still boomers and you know um, people who don't um, rely on email and smartphone apps and stuff like that. So we could still see 1-800 numbers. I don't know. Dan, I don't know. All I know about Canada is what I've heard Mark say, that there will be some redeeming banks there. But unfortunately, that's all I know about Canada. And